Again, so make sure you know the 5 parts of a good definition, right? So we're going to look at this picture I put on here, and we're going to like name some of these things in the picture so you guys can get some practice doing that, right? Because kind of like we did on the quiz, I'm going to say, hey, name 3 collinear points, and you're going to look at the picture and tell me 3 that are collinear, okay? But for now, let's just name a point. Pick one. D, right? So again, to name a point, it's just a capital letter, right? You need to know that you write points with a capital letter, okay? All right, what about a line? All right, how many points do we use to name a line? 2. Okay, so you could say, yes, line A, C. Again, look, they are capital letters. Okay? And it has a little line over top of them. You have to write it that way, or else it's not a line. Okay? It's important. All right, so for the plane, right? A plane is typically named with the little lowercase letter in the corner, right? So we could call this one plane Z. That's the easiest way to do planes. You could also name 3 non-collinear points for the plane, but this is more often how it's going to be done. So I'd rather you get used to doing it that way. Okay? All right, so what are some collinear points in our picture? So what does collinear mean? It's right there in front of you. Right, so what are some points that are on the same line in that picture we have? D, E, F, right? Again, points are all capital letters. Okay, so concurrent lines are lines that intersect, right? So name 2 lines that intersect somewhere in this picture.
AC and EB.
So line AC, right? Yes, which is this one, intersects with line EB. Again, 2 capital letters to name a line with a line over top of it. So coplanar points are just some points in the same plane. So just pick a couple, right? I'm going to say D, B, and F. Right? It really doesn't matter. Right? But they're just points that are all in the same plane. All right, what about some coplanar lines? 2 lines in the same plane. Or any number of lines in the same plane. What we got? Anybody? Right.
AB and BC.
I mean, those are kind of the same line, but... So, let's go with line AB and what else? Another line in that plane. Pick one.
BE.
BE, that works, okay? Just any 2 in that same plane, so in plane Z. Again, lines, capital letter with a line over top. All right. So, skew lines.
GH.
Yeah. Wait, what was the second one you said?
DF.
Yes. So, GH, right? GH is very clearly outside of that plane, right? So then any other ones. So yes, DF is fine. Okay, in that picture, what do we think some parallel lines are? Which ones seem to be parallel? So parallel means they're in the same plane, but they're never going to intersect, right?
AC and DF.
Mm-hmm. All right, why do we have iPads open?
Sorry.
Thanks. Let's close the iPad for now. We don't need it. Thank you. All right. All right. So parallel planes, I just have one plane in the picture, but again, they're planes that will never intersect. Okay, so who remembers how we can name a half line? Anybody?
By cutting a line in half.
Kind of.
Is a line ever really a half line? Because if you just make a line smaller, it's just a smaller line. If you cut it in half, it's just a smaller line.
Right, but we're talking about it just coming from, it's only extending in one direction. It's only extending in one direction though.
But
All right, so.
So then wouldn't it just be a ray?
No. So a half line, all right, yes, half lines and rays are really similar. Okay, so let's look at the picture again. I just moved it so I could see it better. All right, guys. Okay, so again, a half line starts at an endpoint, right, but doesn't include it, and then goes in one direction. Okay, so like we could call that half line BC. And again, you name it with 2 letters starting at the end point.
And that's a half line.
Yes.
or just a smaller one. Right?
No, it's only going in one direction, so it's half line.
I don't believe in geometry.
Okay.
I believe in God.
It's not my religion.
Well, it's not a religion, it's a math.
I bet some people it is.
You got me chuckling, Logan.
Shut up.
Yes, so AC and DF
I'm just
are parallel lines.
Is that for both of them?
I mean, yes, there are 2 lines that are parallel to each other.
What about parallel planes?
There wasn't one.
Said A, B, and
Oh,
C, N.
watermelon chicken.
DF.
Oh, D.
Okay, any questions about the first page? Right, so that's kind of what I'm going to expect you to do on a test. Like, I'm going to give you a picture with lots of things happening. And I'm going to ask you to name things in it. So you need to know what those things are and be able to name it, okay? All right, so array.
Wait, what we get for the 2 parallel lines?
Yeah.
I didn't get those.
Me neither.
AC.
It might be a little late.
This talks to someone like to help with food.
Okay. Here, Ella.
David Cole's favorite culture.
Let me add our picture back in here so we can use it.
Should we not bang?
Y'all,
It's not
Logan,
that fun.
I don't need you to shush people.
They won't be quiet though.
Okay, but that's not your job. All right, so let's name a ray in the picture that we have. So array starts with an endpoint, right? And you need 2 letters.
E, F, E, B,
I mean, any of those would work, right?
C, A.
All right, so let's say you wanted to name it. Oh, I don't like the green. Hold on. So again, that is the array that starts at D, okay, and extends out to F. That's one array. Right, what's another array we have in the picture?
Oh, I know.
Go ahead.
AC.
Okay, that would work.
See, I'm like too good at math for this.
What about another one? What you got, Olivia?
Um.
Yeah, BE's array. Yeah, so BE would be the one that starts at B and goes towards E. Right, so again, all of those are arrays. Okay, so opposite rays are 2 rays that share an endpoint but form a straight line. So, let's erase what we have. Okay. So, looking at that picture, what are 2 opposite rays we could name?
C, A.
B A.
All right, I heard BA.
That's what I said.
Right, so BA starts here. Right? And goes to A. So what would the one opposite of that be?
BC.
BC. So again, to be opposite, they have to form a straight line, right? That part's important. All right, so again, looking at our picture. Right, and I'm pulling all this from the same picture. That way you guys can look back and reference it when you go through your study guide, okay? All right, so what's a segment in our picture? There's lots of them. All right, segments still need 2 letters. So from A to what? A to B, sure. Right, so A, B is a segment.
Just checking on you.
Yep, right here. We're good.
Okay. That was a close one.
What? No. Okay. Next week, maybe. Not yet. All right. No.
Help me focus.
Okay. No, right now I need you to focus on the geometry.
I am. See?
Great. Let's keep it up.
Logan.
Okay? All right. So that's a segment. What's another segment?
A segment is a show. Within a show. A segment.
Right? So yeah, DF is another one. Right, we're talking about geometry segments. So again, segments don't have arrows on the end. It's 2 capital letters with a bar over top of it. Has to have a bar over top.
Yes.
A, B.
So,
I'm bad at
oh, never
crashing.
mind, I get it.
What, Ethan?
Never mind.
Okay. All right. Let's look at angles. Okay. Not a lot of angles in our picture, but there are some.
This is too much.
It's not. All right. Do one of you need to move?
He dropped his pen. I was trying to find it.
Opposite sides of the room.
Right, but you two have been talking constantly the whole
We were
time.
talking about his pen.
Okay.
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
It's literally
All right.
Bruh.
We're calling this a warning. If I have to get on you guys again, somebody's moving. All right, so our angle. Okay, let's pick this one. So, how can I name that angle? Okay.
Over 100 degrees.
We don't know that.
Yes, I do.
Debbie.
We don't. All right, how else can I name that angle?
I lost my spring. I'm about to cry.
All right, guys. Shh. I wasn't talking to you that time. But also, why did you pull your pencil apart? That's your own fault. All right. So we can also name it BED or angle D, or sorry, E. Use the vertex. Okay? So the vertex always has to be the middle letter. So again, vertex is the middle. So in that angle I have, what's our vertex? E. Okay, so the sides are the rays that form the angle. So that's made of ray, ED, and EB.
Did you have a good weekend?
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. Yes, but the weekend was a long time ago.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did. All right, so when we're looking at a circle, okay, these are all of the parts of a circle you should know, right? So first you have the center, which is just the point in the center. Right, so the radius goes from the center to the edge of the circle.
Can we use this on the test?
No.
5 minutes.
You'll be okay, I promise.
That should be it for today. My brain needs a break.
Can we at least play some Christmas music?
Please do it.
All right, guys, we got to get through this first.
The whole thing today?
We're almost done.
We still have that page.
We'd be done
That
if we
page.
didn't keep arguing.
All right,
That's 2 pages.
too bad. All right, so the diameter goes all the way across. Okay? And then you have a chord. Right, so all of those are just segments. And then you have the arc, which is this part here. So remember the notation for an arc is just A, B, with a little arc over it. All right, hood down, please.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Right, so usually for the circle, I just have all those things on there labeled, and you just have to match the word to the part of the circle. I set it up like a matching part. Okay. So again, I'm not going to ask you guys to like write these definitions out. For all the first page, you mostly just have to be able to look at a picture and tell me what it is. Right? Or they will be set up as like multiple choice or some matching, maybe a few true false, right? I don't ask you to write out long definitions. All right, so a curve is a set of points that can be drawn without picking up your pencil. So, curve. Okay. So, just draw an example of a curve on your study guide. Good job. All right, so a simple curve is one that does not overlap itself. But again, it's still a curve. You can draw it without picking up your pencil.
You just made me mess up.
How?
He hit my elbow.
Well, sorry. All right. So, curve and simple curve. Okay? So, simple just means it doesn't overlap itself. turn it off now.
No, I wrote that in the wrong spot. I'm bad at that show.
Okay. So a closed curve is just a curve that starts and ends at the same point. So again, it can overlap itself, right? But again, we start and end at the same point. And then a simple closed curve is one that starts and ends at the same point. But again, does not overlap itself.
Now would be a great time for a fire drill.
All right. Polygon is a simple closed curve made up of line segments. So again, no loops, no breaks, no nothing. Has to be straight lines to be a polygon. Okay, an equilateral polygon is a polygon where all the sides are congruent to one another. An equiangular polygon, I'm just using triangles because they're easy to draw, is one where all the angles are congruent. Right, so that's usually how congruent angles are marked with those little loops. Make it a little bigger, sorry. Okay, and then regular is just both of those things. So it has equal angles and equal sides. Okay, do we have questions about polygons or curves? What the differences are between those? Feel okay with that? All right. So I put pictures of all of those on there for you because I was not about to try and draw those. Okay. So again, a cone, which is that one here. It's kind of hard to read. Okay, so it's got a simple closed curve as a base. Remember, it doesn't have to be a circle. It can be whatever kind of blob it desires, as long as it's a simple closed curve. And cones and pyramids come up to a point at the top, right? Then you have a cylinder, which has two identical regions, so two bases that are the same, right? Again, could be a circle, can be any simple closed curve. Again, circle, blob, whatever it desires, as long as it's a simple closed curve, no overlapping parts, right? And then you have a prism, right, which is just a cylinder whose bases are polygons, right? So cylinders and prisms go together, right? Cones and pyramids. So, like I said, on the test, I'm not going to expect you to, when it says to name it the most specific way, I'm fine with prism or pyramid. If you want to throw in what the shape of the base is, that's awesome. But if not, I'm not going to hold that against you. Okay. Okay. Questions about those? Okay, and then on the last page, Right, so I have polyhedron, which is just a 3D figure whose faces are made of polygons, right? All right, so again, any of those can be polyhedrons, right? Prisms can be, because you've got a triangle and rectangles that make the sides up, or a pentagon and again some more rectangles. Pyramids have a base and a lot of triangles, all polygons, okay? And then we have the ones that are just a bunch of other shapes stuck together, right? Those are called platonic solids. You don't have to know that they're called that, okay? But they're also polyhedrons, right? And then I gave you those two charts, right? So again, the polyhedra over here, okay, and the polygons, which are just your flat two-dimensional shapes over there. So just the name and the number of sides, okay? Again, I typically set this up as a matching scenario, okay? So number of sides to the name. Okay, I know it's a lot and it seems kind of scary. But really, I think you guys will be fine. I really do. If you go over this, right? If you practice, right? I can give you guys some pictures to like practice naming stuff with tomorrow if you want. Again, I will send you the Quizlet link, which has all of these things broken down. It says it's like 70 cards. It's a lot. But it's not just basic definitions. It's got little bits of everything on there, okay? It's got shapes you can classify. It's got all of those things. So, it's really pretty straightforward. I'm not even going to put the theorems and postulates on there. Like, we're going to leave that off for now. Okay? So, overall, after going through this, how do we feel? Better? Worse? Okay. Do you feel like you have what you need to study from, though? Yes? Okay.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, you gave it away.